What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the upcoming stimulus packages, as there's two upcoming packages, the physical infrastructure package and the American Families Plan, which will include multiple different stimulus provisions or programs in there, as well as a possible fourth stimulus check or multiple monthly recurring stimulus checks, as well as what is going on in the world today. We're going to jump right in. Don't forget to hit the like button for us. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates on the upcoming provisions of stimulus. First up, if you haven't received your third stimulus check, it's likely it still could be in the mail, as the mail has been taking about an average of 10 days or more to receive it. Really, the best way to check on the status of it is the IRS Get My Payment tool, but they are issuing another round of stimulus money, stimulus checks this week before the end of the month. Remember, if they're sending you a debit card in the mail, it could look like this. This will also apply for the upcoming fourth round of stimulus. And if they're sending it via a paper check, it will look like this here on the screen. Remember, even if you were expecting a direct deposit, they can send you a paper check because of any glitch in the system or anything went wrong, or you changed your bank account or anything like that. Also, the IRS is sending out plus up payments. Plus up payments are basically money that is still owed to you via your stimulus check. So if you got a reduced stimulus check in the past and you now filed your 2020 tax returns, you could receive an additional unexpected stimulus check in the mail or via direct deposit called a plus up stimulus check if the IRS owes you more money for a stimulus check and you filed a new 2020 tax return, and maybe you had a lower income, which then qualifies you for a higher stimulus check, or you had a new baby in the family, which if you did, congratulations. If you had a new baby in the family and you filed your 2020 tax returns, now the IRS will know about them, and you could go back and actually retroactively receive the first and or second stimulus check. Also, in the last video, we talked about how some stimulus checks are going out starting in May and June for the $10,200 IRS unemployment tax-free money, tax-free provision that was passed from the third stimulus check, which makes the first $10,200 of unemployment money tax-free for last year, 2020. This is retroactively because they passed it this year for last year. They could pass this in one of the upcoming stimulus packages to make it for 2021 as well, which would make the first $10,200 of 2021 unemployment income also tax-free. But not yet. It's right now only available for 2020. This means the average person will receive about $1,000 extra stimulus check or direct deposit from this provision that they made in the third stimulus check package. But I just want to clarify something. If you haven't filed your taxes yet, and you're using TurboTax or TaxAct or whoever you use, you can claim it now. Okay, so mostly this kind of checks going out in May and June is for people that have already filed their tax returns and didn't claim the unemployment exemption, we'll call it. So if you haven't filed your tax returns yet because they've delayed the deadline to May 17th for taxes, you can claim it on your taxes now, and there's no need to send it in and not claim it and then wait for them to automatically adjust your tax return, which is what they're going to do for people that have already filed their tax return. So just keep that in mind, that if you're still yet to file your tax return and you're one of those people that wait till the last minute to file your tax returns, you can just claim that on your taxes now, and it'll just be figured into your tax refund or rebate or however much you owe the IRS. So just claim it now. Don't wait for them to amend it later on. President Biden is expected to announce an updated mask guidance as early as tomorrow. As you can see here, President Biden is expected to announce on Tuesday updated guidance on masking from the CDC. Two sources confirmed to The Hill. The guidance is still being finalized according to multiple sources, but it is likely to ease recommendations that Americans wear masks even while outdoors. Biden is expected to outline the changes in a speech on Tuesday tomorrow, more broadly addressing where the country stands in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. We are also expecting more guidance from President Biden at sometime this week regarding the next part, the next stimulus package, the second half of the infrastructure package, known as the Human Infrastructure Package, called the American Families Plan. Which is also being called by some people in Washington the anti poverty plan, which is mostly going to consist of just stimulus items. As I've been saying from the beginning, this is an infrastructure slash stimulus package. And when it was first announced, the physical infrastructure part of the package, people were all up in arms that there wasn't going to be anything for the people. And I tried to tell you guys that wasn't the case. That's why I've called it an infrastructure slash stimulus package right from the get go, because well, I read into this stuff, so I I have a good idea of what's coming on down the pipeline. By the way, 400,000 people now qualify for student loan debt cancellation, but might not be aware of this. This is because President Biden has already done 3 rounds of student loan cancellation or student loan debt forgiveness and also a pausing. So the first round was $1 billion for people that got defrauded by their schools or their schools closed on them. That was the first mini round of student loan debt cancellation. The second round was $1.3 billion for students with disabilities and also some other qualifications. That was another $1.3 billion. And then the third round was a pausing of payments, interest, and garnishments for over 1 million students in a third round. So we've already seen 3 kind of mini rounds, I'll call them. I mean, they're not many in the terms that they're billions of dollars, but $1 billion is actually very, very tiny when it comes to the size of the entire United States. So we're looking to see the president has his education secretary, Miguel Cardona, looking into if and how much he can do through student loan debt cancellation of the massive round in the near future. So President Biden has said he is willing to do at least $10,000 of student loan forgiveness, a mass round, basically for everybody that has student loans. We don't know if there will be an income qualification, which is a very real possibility. As we know, we've seen that with the stimulus checks and other stimulus provisions, such as the child income tax credits, as well as the adult earned income tax credits for people without children but are adults. There's a tax credit for you as well. I have a video on it linked down below in the description if you haven't watched that yet. You can actually receive up to $6,600 just from the adult earned income tax credit, which is kind of the mirror opposite of the child income tax credit. But Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, as well as AOC and Elizabeth Warren, among other prominent Democrats, are pushing President Biden to do up to $50,000 of student loan debt forgiveness. And President Biden has his education secretary looking into this. And possibly more importantly, is if he can do it through a presidential executive order. Because if he can do it through a presidential executive order, and everything I've read from all the different experts that have weighed in on this have basically said that yes, he can do this through a presidential executive order. In fact, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who was the minority leader at the time, and Elizabeth Warren actually introduced a statement last year before the election saying that the current president could do this or the next president. So President Trump could have done this back when he was president. And I remember saying that this was one of the things he could have done to kind of gain votes before the election, along with a executive order for a stimulus check. We know he didn't do either of those, but he did do an executive order for unemployment stimulus checks of a $300 boost money, which is largely considered stimulus because it's a bonus money that didn't exist really before this. And he did do an executive order for that of $300 per week for 6 different weeks, or a total of $1,800 for anybody that was unemployed last year before the election. So he did do one of the 3 things. And Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says that they actually brought this up last year, the saying President Trump could have done it when he was president. So it kind of still holds ground because if Trump was able to do it, Biden should be able to do it as well because it's a presidential executive order. So I do think they're going to do it through executive order. I don't think they're going to include it in the next stimulus package because I think they're going to try to keep the cost down. But the real question is will he do it before or after the next stimulus package is passed? I think now if we are trying to be strategic about everything, that they might wait to do it after we pass these next two packages because that's another spending bill basically. Even though it's debt forgiveness and the government's just going to forgive the debt on their books, I believe that the U.S. government owns 95% of student loan debt is owned by the government. I think only about 5% is through private student debt holders. We don't know if they'll include that yet. It's very possible they can. Don't automatically think that they're not going to include that because we don't know that at this point. Really, the government could just pay those people, and I mean, it would just be another form of stimulus. So I do expect this to happen. The question is, will it be done through executive order, and will it be done before this next infrastructure slash stimulus package, or will it be done after? I'm kind of thinking strategically if I was the president, I would probably do it after because then it won't hinder, say, the Joe Manchins of the world, Democratic senator, who is a thorn in the side of the Democrats and always wants to say, well, I don't want to vote for this because of this little provision over here, and I want to change this little thing, change this little thing. If they do that before then, you'll have Joe Manchin say, well, we just did student loan debt forgiveness, which is going to cost the government $100 billion or whatever it's going to come out to be. So I could see him saying he doesn't want to support additional stimulus items like this, and this or something if he does that before. So that's why I'm kind of thinking if they're thinking this far into it, and I'm thinking this far into it. So you would think that the government would be thinking this far into it, that maybe they'll do it after they pass these next two packages. So remember, the first part is the physical infrastructure package called the American Jobs Plan, as it will create millions of jobs and fix a lot of infrastructure in our country, a lot more than just roads or bridges. As Republicans will tell you, that's only 6% of the package. There's water infrastructure and airport, waterway infrastructure, broadband infrastructure, senior health care infrastructure, all sorts of different infrastructure packages in there. There's a possibility they might try to pass that with Republican support, which would mean they won't have to use a reconciliation card on it, a reconciliation process, and they can use that two more times this fiscal year at least, and that has been ruled by the Senate parliamentarian. But the second half of the package is called the American Families Plan, and that is where all the stimulus items will be. The real question is what will be in there and how much will be added in after the initial announcement. Here's the way it's going to go. Is President Biden is going to announce it this week, okay? And when he announces it, it's not going to be everything that's in there. So they're going to announce 50 to 75% of what will likely end up being in there before all is said and done. Okay. And I want to prep you guys this because I already know how these things go. I've been doing this for a while. Remember, the second stimulus check package didn't even have a stimulus check in there until literally like 2 days before they passed it. Okay. They announced it, and then we had the big outcry and the big push saying, hey, we got to have a stimulus check in here. We waited all summer. We didn't have a stimulus check in there. And then basically we had so much push from even Republicans at that point, most likely or most namely Republican Senator Josh Hawley, who's been very, very quiet as of lately regarding stimulus, actually. But we had him and Bernie Sanders pushing for a stimulus check to be added in there. And then eventually we know they took the money away from the states and cities and gave it to you guys for the second stimulus check. Back then, the Democrats had to negotiate with the Republicans. And it's not that I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat, that's just the facts. Okay, now the Democrats don't really need to negotiate with the Republicans as it's almost a 99% certainty that they're going to pass this American Families Plan completely on their own without any Republican votes. And they're going to pass it through the reconciliation process. Okay, so that means they don't have to negotiate with Republicans. So, like, for example, the problem with the second stimulus check package is Republicans didn't want to spend more than $1 trillion. If you don't have to negotiate with a party that wants to spend no more than $1 trillion, well, then you don't have to worry about that, just as an example. So I think that we're going to get an announcement this week multiple different stimulus items that they want to include in the American Families Plan, such as free community college. We've already seen a brand new bill this week announced by Bernie Sanders. As you can see here on the screen, he actually introduces an interesting idea with a fraction of a percentage called Wall Street tax, which every Wall Street trade that is made would pay a fraction of a percentage of a tax. And over the course of millions and millions of trade, that this would pay for this alone. And this would be free college for all adults making less than $125,000 per year. I think this is one of the more likely things to happen in the next infrastructure slash stimulus package because President Biden has spoke about having free college multiple different times for our country. And I think that this would completely reform the way our country works. As you know, right now, college is insanely expensive. It can easily be over $100,000 to go to a 4-year college, if not $200,000 or $300,000 or more. So imagine being able to go back to college if you wanted to and get it completely for free. Or if you have children, imagine them being able to go to college for free and not have to come out of college with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. As you know, as we've talked about a lot on this channel, is the two different bills from number one from the Senate, Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren, senators, pushing Joe Biden for $2,000 monthly stimulus checks to be included in this next second half of the infrastructure plan, the American Families Plan, for $2,000 monthly stimulus checks until the pandemic is over. That would likely be at least 6 months of $2,000 stimulus checks. They say that this would help out not just Americans in their time of need, but also the economy greatly and would basically give a vitamin C shot to almost every business in the United States, as many millions of Americans would actually have money to go out and spend, albeit just for a limited time. It would give and bring everybody out of the hole, including small businesses. The other bill from the House of Representatives is for a one time $2,000 stimulus check followed by $1,000 monthly recurring payments. This is gathering more and more support by the day. This would be a $1,000 stimulus check for at least 18 months, as it would go for 1 year after the pandemic is declared over by the government. So again, both these fourth stimulus check bills are gaining in support. The farther we get away from the third stimulus check, remember, people are literally just got their checks this week. Some people are still waiting on their checks. So it really hasn't been that long since the third stimulus check has passed. I know it might seem that way if you got the first direct deposit, which was literally like 2 days after they passed the third stimulus check. I was astounded that it was actually got out that fast. And a lot of people got, let me know down below in the comments if you got your third stimulus check on that first wave, which was literally like 2 days direct deposit after they passed the stimulus package, which was amazing. But then, of course, we know a lot of people ended up waiting weeks afterwards, including Social Security and VA. Speaking of Social Security, it's a very good possibility that we could see the Social Security and SSI raises in this next infrastructure package, as well as the Medicare additional coverages for free as well. You know, this week we had the bombshell breaking news announcement that a group of Democrats, both from the Senate and the House, want to increase SSI Social Security by $279 per month, eliminate the marriage penalty, and eliminate the asset penalty that you can only have up to $2,000 in asset, as well as we're starting to see more support for the overall larger bill, which is to increase $200 per month for all Social Security beneficiaries. And this one is for 2 years here, but I believe that this bill for SSI is a permanent increase. It is not a limited time increase. They want to just permanently raise this by $279 per month going forward. So this bill, when it originally came out, which was $200 per month for all Social Security beneficiaries, as you can see here, what the plan is to provide more than 60 million Americans with an additional $4,000 over 2 years, is part of the Senate Democrats' bold Phase 3 stimulus proposal. Now, this was originally for over 2 years, but this is gaining a lot of support right now, along with the SSI increase of $279 per month. So the interesting thing is the SSI is a what they want is a permanent increase. Of course, these are all proposals and still until the next package is passed. Remember, all this stuff can be negotiated on. It can be negotiated up. It can be negotiated down. It can be added into the package literally up until the last minute. We know that is exactly what happened with the $600 second stimulus check. They literally added it into the package because of the momentum and the push and the outcry from people and from Congress people. And then basically they added it in. They wrote the bill the next day, and the next day they passed it in the House, and the next day they passed it in the Senate. So literally up until the last minute, anything can be negotiated up or down or added in the next stimulus package. So I will keep you up to date with all of these different provisions. It's a very exciting time for stimulus because there is so many different things on the horizon. In fact, I think there's about 15 different stimulus items that they're working on right now to possibly be included in this next infrastructure package. In fact, I'll link you to a video that outlines those here in a second. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates, and join our family, join our community here of subscribers. New videos come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss an episode because we have new provisions and we cover different items in different videos. After subscribing, click the bell icon down below that appears next to the subscribe button to all notifications. You can click this video here to learn more about the Social Security SSI increase, and you can click this video here to learn about the 15 different stimulus programs that they want to include in this next infrastructure package and they're working on now. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.